Guys, welcome to a review of Blob for the Wii. Blob is a game where you play as a colorless blob in a world in a city filled with no color, and these evil dudes, the Comrade Black and his minions, have taken over, and they monochromized. That's not a word. They made everything black and white. Like they took all the color out of everything, decolorized everything, I guess you could say, although that's not a word either, but you know. And it's up to you and your group of renegade friends to bring color back to the world by stepping on these color dudes and then painting buildings. So you're basically painting the world while platforming. So, yeah, obviously the concept is really where this game shines. The art style and the concept of painting the world really does deliver, and it's very impressive. There are some flaws with it that hold it back from being like a truly fantastic game. One of those flaws is the controls are kind of floaty. For one thing, you shake the Wii remote to jump, which normally I would immediately dismiss any game where you shake the Wii remote to jump as bad. It's crap. But it actually works. It works surprisingly well, shaking the Wii remote to jump. The main problem is that oftentimes you'll be like in between the wall and the ground of a building, or like on the wall of a building, and you'll just jump and go flying off in a direction you didn't want to go in, which can get really annoying sometimes. And the whole control scheme, he's just kind of a floaty character. Like the controls are very floaty. He often doesn't go where you want him to go. It can be kind of annoying at times. There are Z jumps though, where you can like Z target some certain things and jump on them, enemies, color paint things that and that helps, but still not perfect. Apparently the second game you press A to jump, I believe. I was looking it up online. So that's probably a better game than the first one, and I probably will play that if I can find it in stores. That's another thing. The Blob is really cheap in stores. Like the only places it's one of those games that you find it in, like, you know, the shelf of pointless shovelware Wii games that you can buy for like $10 that like you'll play for like 10 minutes and then quit. Those types of games that I usually just completely skim over, but I tend to dig through those racks for like hidden gems. The Blob is one of those hidden gems. Look through those racks. You'll probably, if you can't find a Blob anywhere else, it'll probably be in there. And even if you couldn't find a Blob anywhere else, if you find it there, it'll be like $5. $5 for the Blob, and it's definitely worth $5. I don't know if I would pay $60 for a game like the Blob, because it is pretty short. Like, it's got about 10 levels. Each level probably takes about an hour. Maybe you could beat them in half an hour if you rush through the level, but if you take the time to go and paint everything like I did, each level would take like an hour to an hour and a half. But you know, but if you get a game over, you have to do the whole level again. So that happened to me a lot. So that made the game longer. It depends on your skills. But also sometimes you'll die in really cheap ways. I know there's this one level where there's this one mission where you gotta like climb a tower and then hit these 3 buildings with like a bunch of color, and I just screwed up that mission so many times. I fell in the tar stuff, which makes you black again. 2 times I got stuck in between this one ledge and this other ledge, and I could not move, which happened to me a couple times, but every other place I was able to get out. But that, like, I literally was sitting there for probably like 10 minutes waiting for the timer to run out so that I could like respawn back at the bottom of the mountain. It was so stupid. I hated that mission. So yeah, little stuff like that holds the game up, which is really sad because it is a great game. Made by THQ, a company which is now out of business, which means we'll never see a Blob 3 unless some other company picks it up, but they probably won't. It's a pretty like cult classic type title. Like, it says cult classic all over it. Frankly, I'm surprised it sold well enough to get a sequel, because it really does have that cult classic feel. And it's a lesser known Wii game, which is pretty much all I've left to play. I've played all the major fantastic Wii games except for Kirby's Epic Yarn and Kirby's Routine. But I don't know, Kirby games have never been quite my piece of cake. I enjoy Kirby Mass Attack on the DS. I'm going off on a tangent, so Stick to one game, Coleman. To Blob, I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10. I don't know why. Sometimes I give them number ratings, sometimes I don't. It's just whatever I feel like. I give it a sausage out of 10. No, I know some reviewers do that as a joke, but I don't know. It's a good game. It's just held back a bit. Like I said, I wouldn't pay $60 for it, but the fact that you find it in like the section with all the other shovelware Wii games for $5, it's way better than any of those shovelware games. Trust me, it's not shovelware. It's worth $5. Definitely worth the $5. Computer just went black for a second. So yeah, that's the review. I never know how to end these things. Arrivederci!